afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another edition of RecruitMilitary Live, a continuing series of live broadcasts covering all things military transition, veteran employment, mil-spouse employment, and much more. My name is Lucas Connolly, retired U.S. Army officer and former TAP manager, here to share with you the ins and outs of navigating the waters of civilian employment. If you're in search of meaningful employment, you're in the right place. Please visit rmvets.com/live to learn more. Okay, let's roll. Are you a job seeker looking to take your digital professional networking to the next level? If you answered yes, then you're watching the right show, so don't touch that mouse. Today's topic is advanced networking through social media. This is the first installment of a three-part series with our guest today. He's a man of many talents. In addition to being a professional resume writer, an interview coach, and a professional networking consultant, he's appeared in film on both the big and small screen over 47 times. And while this show probably won't appear on his IMDb page, I'm happy to say that I'm going to go ahead and count this as his 48th appearance. His company, MJW Careers, has been helping clients draft world-class resumes to create attention-grabbing social media profiles and to prepare for winning interviews for more than 13 years. His LinkedIn feed is littered with thank you notes and success stories from his clients. He is a man of many talents and a genuine subject matter expert. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to welcome to the show Mr. Matt Warzel.
Hey, thanks for having me, Lucas. I appreciate the time as well as to you, Sean. So thanks for having me. What you guys are doing is tremendous. So the honor's all mine.
All right. Well, we're glad you could make the time to be on the show today. I'm just noticing that my glasses are really crooked today. I don't know what's going on here. All right. There you go. Now I don't look completely disheveled. We are live, and anything can happen when you're live. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, you folks out there in the audience, you've heard who we are, and now we want to hear who you are. Jump into the chat menu and let us know where you're at, where you're coming to us from, what your status is. Are you active duty military or getting ready to transition? Are you a veteran? Are you a mil-spouse? Are you a veteran job seeker who's looking to change, take a left turn or a right turn in your career and try something new? We want to hear from you. And if you've got questions or concerns, drop them in that chat window and we'll try to get them addressed. Excuse me. All right, Matt, as we say in the military, we are wheels up. So let's roll right in. I am told, and I think this is widely known in your profession and what we do, that online applications, that going to one of the big name job clearinghouses on the internet, firing off a bunch of applications and crossing your fingers, it just doesn't work. Statistically speaking, your odds of getting a job as a result, even of getting just an interview, is about 90% on the wrong side. It's not going to happen. You're single digit percentages just firing off that digital resume and crossing your fingers. And yet, I saw statistics on the LinkedIn feed this morning that said only 25% of transitioning military service members even have LinkedIn accounts. And I was surprised, continuously surprised how many professionals, mid-career professionals in their 30s and 40s, either don't know or don't use LinkedIn. What do these folks need to know?
Yeah, that's a good question. So first and foremost, if you don't have a LinkedIn after this after this webcast, please go and sign up, because it is the social media sandbox for job seekers, for hiring managers, recruiters, everything professional, right? So first and foremost, it's a necessary evil, I'll call it. And trust me, I live on LinkedIn all day and it's wonky. It's got its issues. Don't get me wrong. But until someone else builds a platform with 2 billion people or whatever it is, all looking for work or advancing some sort of profession, that's where we live. So be on LinkedIn, and I'll get into a little bit about what you can do once you do sign up. But I will say this, the beginning of your question about the online applications. So you still need to apply online, everyone. This is because if you want to work at Apple, Microsoft, whatever, you need to be in their career portal. And that is essentially their apple.com/careers, right? That whole getting to their careers page, signing up a profile, and then setting up an alert that will email you once a matched role is available. Not only will it allow you to get in sooner, but also it allow you to be in that system we call applicant tracking systems, ATS.
Yep.
And the other recruiters will see you maybe a month, 2 months, whatever, a year. And all of a sudden you get this message from someone going, hey, you were a fit. And all of a sudden that could be like that time where you're looking for another role. So again, though, the percentages are low. And especially with all the good talent on the bench right now, you can't just rely on applications. So if you are the one who does, an hour or two in the morning applications and then call it a day for your job hunt, it's going to be a while. You really have to have that harmonious, this was the right fit, right time, person sees you and it matches well. And it, again, like you said, it's very limited. So now also you can use, and this kind of goes into that idea of using LinkedIn with the networking. You have to be doing things that are intentional targeted, right? So, and I'll do that later, but working some of what we call backdoor job hunting strategies. And I have a list of about 30 plus that it's kind of a rolling list that I maintain for my clients. So I can tell them, hey, look at some of these neat things people are doing to get employment. Using not just LinkedIn, just guerrilla marketing style stuff, right? The guy in the sandwich billboard and all that stuff you hear about in the news, people just disrupting. So if you want this list, at the end, I'll let you know where you can find me, and you can email me and I'll send it over for free. But just to give you an idea of one thing on this list, I got a buddy, Bogdan, who told me about a client of his who was trying to get a job as a blog writer. And he found out, this client of Bogdan found out that there was a company he was targeting, and he was finding the correlations between the roles that would fit him. All of it had SEO, as heavy duty stuff that they're going to be doing. So he also noticed that one of their biggest pain points was fixing broken links on their website and in their blog. So this client spent hours running analytics, a few hours running analytics, putting out a nice report that was very easy to read and understandable, and sent it to the hiring managers and said, here is not only what I saw your issues to be, but here are the corrections. I went ahead and showed the solutions. And they end up hiring this person because he disrupted the process and made it known that I'm going to go above and beyond. And those are the things people are doing today to get recognized, because there's a lot of fish in the sea, so to speak.
That's a great point. When I talk to people about their resumes, especially, and their, by extension, their LinkedIn content, I talk about the 3 questions that you're trying to get answered, or that hiring manager is probably trying to get answered, or should be getting answered. 1, can you do the job that I'm hiring for? 2, can you come in and generate results as early as day 1? And 3, can you acclimate to my corporate culture? So when you get that opportunity to show them, hey, not only can I do the job, I've already begun to generate a plan which addresses some of the issues you have. That is next level guerrilla marketing right there. That's you've got to have a little bit of the chutzpah, so to speak, to go in like that, but it pays off.
It does.
Now,
and go ahead, Si.
No, please continue.
Yeah, and that's kind of one of the pillars I lean on when I'm writing my resumes. Is your content either A, relatable, B, operational, meaning bottom line impact, or C, unique, like awards and being featured on news and that kind of stuff. So if you stick to this 3-pronged approach when you're writing your content, piggybacking off what you said, look at these job descriptions. Can you do the job? Well, if you see the top 5, 6, 7, 8 duties, those are usually the bulk of what you're going to be doing every day. Then put those into your resume, but don't just copy and paste them. I've seen that, and it's just poorly. It's not something you want to do. It doesn't set the right message. So you want to take those. It handles the full project management life cycle. So then write in your resume on a little accomplishment saying, handle the entire life cycle of the project, including a situation where, and again, you got to keep this condensed. That's where me as a resume writer gets paid, because I can take narratives and throw them into like 1 or 2 lines.
I struggle with it.
And it's an art. It's taken me, 20 years to get here, but you want to show them what's the proof in the pudding, what's your unique spin on managing the entire life cycle of the project. What makes me want to see someone that's adding a little personality, but still maintain that professionalism. And if you stick to that kind of idea when you're writing your content, it goes a long way because it resonates, and that's what you want to do.
Absolutely. So now let's talk about, let's just assume that your clients, the folks that we're talking about, I want to get past this should I have a LinkedIn page argument, because the answer is yes. And those that don't understand that, the rest of this show is probably lost on them. So 1, should you have a LinkedIn page? Absolutely. If you don't, you're going from T-ball league to major league, and you're not going to hit anything. All right. So let's imagine for a second, I am a sort of a newbie to LinkedIn. I'm getting ready to go deep into my job search. I'm sitting at about 120 connections. I've had a bunch of people tell me, you need to expand your network. You need to target your network. You need to grow your network. And I'm just sitting here going, I don't know how to grow a network. I can plant tomatoes in my yard, and I know I need to put water and fertilizer and I know how to grow that, but I don't know how to grow a network. What do you tell that person?
Well, and this is good. So there's a couple ideas here. And one is, why do I want to follow anybody? Why do you follow somebody? If their content resonates, and the R word is the big word here. Resonating is huge no matter what we're doing in life. You're trying to find people to hang out with that are like-minded sometimes, and they resonate. So it's same idea here. If you're putting out content that resonates with people, they're going to start following you and trying to find out what your thoughts are next, because you offer something that is poignant, witty, unique, whatever. So I always say, first and foremost, find some folks, and this is pre kind of developing content. So let's go start from the macro level here, the 120 connections, right? So
yes,
first find some folks that you can generate what we call informational interviews with. Informational interviews is when you ask somebody, hey, I want to pick your brain about either why you loved working at Northrop Grumman all these years. I see you've had 30 years there. What's great loyalty? I'd love to pick your brain about that, how your career journey. Or hey, let me pick your brain about what it takes to be a good candidate in your workflow, in your process. I've noticed some recent hires and whatever. So however you approach them, the idea though is that you're trying to pick their ear rather than asking for them to read your resume, asking if they have a job opening. I've had people message me going, I need a job. And it's like, do you even know what I'm doing? And then they say, I need a job. And it's like, well, that's inappropriate. If you ask me, communication is half the battle when you're in the business world. Let's call it business, no matter what industry, professional. So make sure your communication isn't gimme, gimme, gimme. It's rather here, take. So finding folks you can offer resources to, maybe an article that would resonate with a certain recruiter in the space you're trying to target. Hey, this might be a pretty good idea to start opening conversations up with Crystal. She's a recruiter in this industry, and this is an article that relates to that. So offering some resources, and then anybody that's like important in the industry that maybe you aspire to be, or folks that are like-minded again, but you just aren't connected with. So live and breathe in your world. You don't need to go connect with everybody under the sun on LinkedIn. You just need to focus on decision makers, people you think are pretty cool in the industry, and recruiters, right? Because they're the ones that are they have access to some of these openings. So and then you start relationship building. This is that specific targeting stuff I was talking about. Once you actually do start giving up some goods, there might be that window where then you can ask for something. Once you develop this, and I know it sounds like, how am I going to cultivate relationships with people? This sounds like a lot of work. It is a little work, but you're planting seeds. And then all it takes is a message here and there every, few weeks, 6 weeks, whatever, to then continue dialogue. So, and I've had people approach me like this, and it's phenomenal how it does work, because now I can spitball with people that, now I'm kind of friends with, if you will. So, and then on the flip side, check into connections from the past, right? Old school mates, old schoolmates, colleagues, managers, friends. So you never know who's going to help, right? And it's about building those meaningful connections and focusing on fellow colleagues or communicating insights to advance everyone's goals, right? We're all trying to do this together. And that's kind of, if you have that mentality and surround yourself with folks that will push you on your career journey, you reciprocate and you give back and you help other on their career journey. And together, everyone's kind of living harmonious. And that's kind of the ultimate goal with LinkedIn.
Yeah, and from a visual perspective, if you can almost kind of visualize like a Fibonacci sequence or a expanding spiral out, where you're connecting with the people that the people that are on your left and right, maybe people that you're serving with or have recently served with, and then out from there in a greater circle until you're reaching out further into the areas you want to go. And then the different groups, like I'm in Veteran Mentor Network group.
Yeah.
On LinkedIn, and there's all kinds of groups. There's HR professional groups, and 501c3s, and engineers, and project managers, and veterans, and SOF, and former Navy guys, and just following that. And then, you know what? If you happen to be a veteran, if you happen to be, you went to Ohio State, play whatever cards you need, I think, to open the door.
Exactly. Yeah. When you can mention things that will hook them in a little bit, find that hook. Yeah, it goes a long way. And that's just like an interview. If you could find some sort of relating thing to mention casually, it kind of builds that connection right away. So maybe you see, like you see a football on the desk and, you're like, oh, I was a Joe Montana fan too, or whatever. So, if had Montana, whatever it is. So thinking of ways to just show your personality, but still maintains professionalism. That's the key. You can't go on LinkedIn and start blasting politics and blasting people and,
wrong space.
Yeah, save that for other platforms. This is a professional platform, and it deserves to be, because no one wants to be threatened when they're going online, and this is kind of a safe spot for that.
Yeah, and it's interesting what you said about, don't just hit connect and say, hey, give me a job. It's like, whoa, slow down there, hero. Somebody once said to me, if you call up somebody asking for a job, they might take a minute and give you advice. But if you call up asking for advice, you might be on your way to getting a job. So
Right.
let's shift gears for a second here. And here's one that I hear a lot about, and much like expand your network. And from a functional standpoint, most people don't know how to do that. And I think we've hit it. It's joining groups, exchanging content, just having conversations, and then making those connections. And then targeting your way into that industry. It's like, okay, I want to be in project management, so let me connect with as many people in project management as possible. This is great advice. Let's talk for a second about branding.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I don't, let's just assume I'm new and somebody says to me, you have to brand yourself. And I'm like, okay, is that like a fraternity thing where somebody's going to put a hot iron on me? I mean, what do you mean branding? What is up with branding? How do I brand myself?
No, that's good. And so people need to think of when don't you need a brand first? You don't need a brand if you're in a network and you haven't had a resume in 30 years and you know everybody in the industry and you just keep moving along on succession. You're going to have the handful of people that don't need to even set up a profile anywhere, because that's the way things work in that industry. So this isn't a catch-all answer. If you're one of those lucky people, good. But let's say the other 90% of us actually have to disrupt and say, hey, give me some eyeballs, because I know you're getting inundated by everything, not only just the news feeds and the LinkedIn, but the content that's out there and the TikToks and Instagram. So things are just coming your way constantly. Phone alerts. People are fighting for eyeballs in every space now. And so you need to get eyeballs on you. So the goal here is, the brand is a way to cut through all the content that are thrown each day, right? And have them stop and listen to your story. And this is kind of something I want to make sure I had a very matter of fact. So if a recruiter is sifting through resumes, we call it a 6-second eye test. They're going to give you 6 seconds to determine if you're worthy or not to read for 2 minutes. We'll then determine if I'm going to want to call you for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, right? And there's a chain, right? Then you go from there, maybe you meet the hiring manager. So there's always these little areas that you have to focus on and jumping through to get to the ultimate goal. So stop that recruiter from sifting through the resumes. Stop the hiring managers from scrolling on LinkedIn and Indeed and going past you. You need them to stop for longer than those few seconds to learn about you. And that's your brand. How you present your qualifications and your insights, like your subject matter expertise, is what we call the brand. So if you think of Coca-Cola, this is company you. And I've been preaching this since I even started this business, almost 15 years ago. This is nothing new. But so some ways, right? Original content. If you're going to post something really unique, post something cool, post something insightful, thought-provoking, witty, whatever. But it's important that not only when you do post it, but maintaining consistency and relevancy. This helps answering, how do I keep my content and my activity professionally relevant and translate that into a career opportunity? So if you stick to a schedule, think of posting every day, every other day, what have you, and circle your center your posts around things that are problem-solving solutions. They can help people figure out how they can get over their humps. Interesting, relevant, or unique, like I keep saying. So being active is key. And if you are not only posting, but then go and share other people's posts, or tag people in your posts, or chime in on the LinkedIn news feeds. I love chiming in on LinkedIn news, because then eventually they feature me. And that's huge, because that makes a ton of eyeballs, right? So any way you can boost your visibility and your overall brand awareness is the idea here.
Now, somebody told me this, and I'd like to hear your take on it, that consistent branding, you'll know you've got consistent branding when that top section of your LinkedIn profile, the top section of your resume, and your 60-second elevator pitch almost sound the same.
Oh, I kind of like that. I mean, I've never heard that, but that's I'm gonna have to look into that after the call. I like that. See, thought provoking.
But it's interesting because you talk about you're going to get 6 seconds.
Oh yeah.
So 6 seconds on a resume doesn't take you further than much than halfway down the page. And 6 seconds on your LinkedIn is only about that top section, and your 60-second elevator pitch is only as fast as you can get through it. So it seems like.
Yep.
Go ahead, please.
And I was going to say, and they have to want to click about me now. It's not open anymore, right? So you actually have to be engaged with the header, the profile picture, which is just as important. And then you start getting into that sections of, the about me, and then it goes into the experience, what have you, or featured. So maximize this, boost your visibility by filling in as many sections as you can. And also let it auto-populate and click it. So if you went to Notre Dame, go Notre Dame on your education, but wait for it to pop up and then click that one. That will help from the recruiter standpoint when they're using software. They have these tools on LinkedIn for recruiters. They'll find you in pools of, if they want to search for Notre Dame alums, you'll come up if you let it auto-populate. So it's important to kind of boost your visibility by putting it out as much as you can. Don't feel like you got to hide. I always find it more rewarding when I'm opening up my toolbox to job seekers. Here's a perspective of what hiring managers are doing and recruiters from a person who was behind the scenes. I was a recruiter for 9 years. And so if you give up those goods, people appreciate that. They don't have to hide behind paywalls and all this stuff. It's like, no, just give them the information they need so they can take it and go implement it. People will then want to hang out with you more. They'll want to follow you. They'll want to say, this guy's giving me the goods. I like that. And that's the kind of idea there.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot you can learn just from being a passive consumer of the content. Let's talk for a second about, So I've identified a job opportunity. Let's say it's with, and you mentioned Coca-Cola, so we'll just say Coca-Cola, right? I've identified a job opportunity at a Coca-Cola bottling plant, and it's a pretty entry-level sort of operations job. It's a production supervisor's role. And I'd like to take my interest now in this and convert it into a job opportunity. But I know I'm single-digit percentage likely to get an interview just by firing off that electronic resume. What actions should I take? How do I leverage these tools to go from, I think I can do this job, to a salary negotiation?
Yeah, that's good. So first, use LinkedIn search capabilities to your advantage, right? Coca-Cola, where's the location? Find a location. Where are the production managers? Find a production manager and start tickling these people. And by tickle, I mean reach out. And if you can have the right messaging in place, and that's something I also help my clients out with, is like kind of that cold messaging stuff. How you spin your message will dictate if they're going to want to respond to you, or if maybe they're not on LinkedIn a lot. So it might not be all for naught just because some people just aren't on, and active. So, but what's the gamble, right? So who cares? Just take advantage of every little resource you can to get in front of somebody hiring for this production person. Also, like we said, use specific language when you're writing your resume so it shows that you can hang with this role, that you're capable of doing this, and that, moreover, if you have, show them some results of how successful you were in production in your past. So if you can the idea is, how can you let them know, the hiring people, how you're going to make their life easier if they hired you, how you're going to resolve their pains because of having that opening. And if you reverse engineer off of this job description, just looking at the stuff that's heavy on what you need to be doing, try to figure out ways to embed that through your key value offerings. And those key value offerings are your skills, your ability to mesh into this role and actually help. So, but keep it short and sweet. That's the other thing. If you're trying to through the right, very quick, very matter of fact, and that's the part. And for me, that's even a treasure trove of insight that I'm always finding myself with LinkedIn is there's so many possibilities of connecting with people. So that's just one of them though. But I mean, you can even Google, You can even Google, and they'll have like old documents from people who attended a conference a year ago, and emails and titles and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much online that you can find who actually might be hiring. But the thing is, though, if you don't, stick to the regular channels of applying, and then work the angle of who can I find that might have an impact with this role, and then show them what value I can offer.
You know what somebody told me one time? They said, look, if you can, get your 60-second elevator pitch down to 199 or 200 characters. And then when you make the connection request with the hiring manager or that ops manager who is potentially a future supervisor, cut and paste that 200 character version of your 60-second elevator pitch into the note that goes with the connection request. What do you think about that idea?
Absolutely. And that's the whole setting the tone of, hey, here's how I am worth your 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 2 minutes. And that is that elevator pitch. And what do they want to know about the elevator pitch? What you're going to do for them. It's not a summary from college to present day. This is how
can you do the job?
Right.
Generate results.
Exactly. So keep it pragmatic, but also about them. You'll be in good shape.
Awesome. That's fantastic. Quick question. I'll ask for your feedback on this. Someone once told me this. Your resume is you marketing you for this job with this company today. But your LinkedIn page is you marketing yourself to the workforce. Your thoughts?
Yeah. So I'm an advocate of keeping them comparable. When I was a recruiter, LinkedIn was kind of like starting to make its way around. And we were using it to, source and vet potential candidates. I'm an advocate, and this is like something that our industry, there's so many different arguments about this. When I'm a hiring manager, I'm busy. I'm looking at these things 4:00 on a Friday. I'm annoyed because I have operational stuff I'm responsible for. And this opening, it's important, but it's the last thing on my mind. It's a necessary evil hiring. And usually
you want it done now.
Yeah. And you feel it as a recruiter a lot of times, depending on how gruff the hiring managers might be. And so what we have to do is figure out, how, again, pragmatic, match the resume with the LinkedIn, because if I'm finding you on LinkedIn, I'm a hiring manager, 4:00 on a Friday, and you bringing me a resume of the same person and they don't mesh and they're two different people, I'm annoyed because I got to go and start over from looking at the story you're presenting on both channels.
Consistency.
Your resume. Right. Keep it all the same and move on. I've never had someone not get an interview because they didn't get a little cute or quirky with their LinkedIn. It's like, no, they want to see that you're professional and engaged and offering value. And if that's on your LinkedIn, good. On your resume, it's a career snapshot. Here's how I can be the fit, right? Like you said, here's how I could be the fit for the role. So keep them linear, keep them same, and keep it as concise as you can with all of it, with your writing in general. Just very direct and to the point.
Yeah, concise is definitely key, especially when you're writing a resume. If you've only got 5 years of professional experience or less, you're probably doing a one-page document. Nice thing I like about LinkedIn is you have much greater length, much more time to enumerate even volunteer activities that might not appear on a resume that kind of speak to your character. Not necessarily can you do the job, but does speak to your character. What schools you went to, activities that networks that you follow, things of that nature. And in the spirit of conciseness, I'm going to ask you that tough question. The just one piece of advice question, the same question I ask of all my victims, of all my guests. Matt, as we approach the end of the broadcast, I have to ask, if you had a transitioning service member, a veteran about to change careers, or a military spouse looking for employment, and you've got 30 seconds or less, one piece of advice to give, what do you say?
The hiring process is selective for a reason. It's expensive to start the process of the job description all the way through the onboarding and training. And so within this whole process, there are going to be hoops because there's a lot of bodies who want in on this one role. And so it's selective for a reason. Just don't beat up recruiters and hiring managers too much. They're humans. They're doing the best they can as well. It's made a little complicated, the hiring process, just because they got to get through all the fluff. They don't have time to look at 2,000 resumes every week. I can only imagine Google, right? So just be pragmatic and approach them with kindness. Don't start firing off and getting mad because they might not have gotten a role you wanted and stuff like that. That's how you get blacklisted. So just know HR folks are trying to be gentle.
Don't burn the bridges you're standing on. By all means,
you
may have to come back this way on the road of life. It may take you over that last bridge. Don't burn it.
Don't burn it.
Matt, if folks want to hear more about you, and we are going to include your link to your URL in the comments, where can they find you?
Jobstickers.com, like the pot stickers, but job stickers. If you come over there, it's my blog. It's embedded in my website. So feel free to email me about that resource guide. I'd be glad to give you the backdoor job hunting resource guide.
Absolutely. I'm going to want to see that myself.
Absolutely.
And for all the folks in the audience out there, if you haven't already done so, do yourself a solid. Use the link we're going to drop in the comments. RM Vets. Oh, there it goes. It's going past on the ticker. rmvets.com/live. That'll take you to our website where you'll find over 400,000 job opportunities for more than 16,000 employers around the world and around the corner. You'll find information about our job fairs, both in person and virtual, held monthly nationwide, and a library of content, all designed to help veterans, transitioning service members, and military spouses find the next meaningful career opportunity. Matt, on behalf of Recruit Military and our audience, thank you very much for being on the show today.
It was my pleasure. I will see you next week. We'll continue.
Absolutely. And for those of you who enjoyed having Matt on the show today, look forward to next Wednesday, where we are going to attack the topic of advanced resume. All right. We're going to take your resume from zero to hero in no time flat. Matt, I'll see you next week. And for everybody else, good luck and Godspeed.